Good morning. Welcome to the Social Media Breakfast of Houston. Thank you to all of you who have gotten out of your beds, gotten your hair done. Sorry, talking to you directly. Sonny went to get her hairdresser this morning before she came here. So that's, that's Veronica. Thank you so much for being here. And for those of you on the live stream, so excited to have you here as well. I am excited about today because we're going to be learning about how to publish a book. And I couldn't have a better group here than Scott and Christine Smith to help me with this because they have done this many times and helped other people do the same. So inside of this room today, we are going to go through all of those steps, and we're going to end a little bit early inside the room and do a little workshopping for your own book idea. So those of you who made the trip out will make it worth your while. Also, make sure you grab some hot food because it's hot. So make sure you grab some if you haven't yet. And I'm so excited to be here. So Akil also just told me that next week here at Impact Hub Houston, they are having open project night. So on the once a month, I think it's once a month, right? Yeah, once a month. They have a open project night on a Wednesday night from 6 to 8 where entrepreneurs come together to talk about problems in the city and how to solve them, and they come up with project ideas to solve those problems. So if you are somebody who is that kind of person that would love to solve some problems and has some entrepreneurial ideas about how to do it, open project night is for you. So check out the Impact Hub Houston webpage, and also, we'll probably share it on our pages as well. So that being said, I am so excited to welcome my guests all the way from Oregon, guys. They drove here to talk to you today. So thank you guys. And I didn't pay them. They just came with their friendly faces. So thank you so much. And I am so excited to introduce them to you. So first on my right is the D. Scott Smith. So if you want to find him on LinkedIn, it's D. Scott Smith. And you can look him up there. He is one of the co-leaders of the Global Tea Break, which is how we met. And that is run in collaboration with Alan Hennessy, who is in Dublin. So he's not here today, sorry. Hopefully he's watching. Hey, Alan, maybe in replay. So Alan and Scott started the Global Tea Break. It's been what, 5, 6? Tell me.
Yeah. So
5 years?
Yeah, the official launch of the tea break was in February of 2020, right before the world changed.
Yes.
And the lockdowns came, and it turned out we needed that more than ever.
Yes, you did. And it was February 2020 because we were talking about it because I'm very good friends with Alan, and he had introduced me to Scott. And I begged him not to have it on the second Friday of the month so I could attend. So they do have it on a Friday that I can come, which is the third Friday of the month. So that is when I go to the Global Tea Break. It's an amazing group of people. And by the way, how many of you in here are Global Tea Breakers? Woo! Hi, Global Tea Breakers. Awesome. So there's a few in the room. So if you're interested in the Global Tea Break and that sounds something interesting to you, you can go to theglobalteabreak.com and check it out. So we would love to have you. Yes. And so that is who he is from that point, from how I met him, but that is not who he is. He's so much more and so much more. So Scott Smith is a motivational listener, and he has this really great sentence. That's why I'm looking at this. He says, you can have a single conversation can change your life or your business. A single conversation can change your life or your business. He is an expert networker. He's built his entire business that way. And he's also really has been a CEO of big companies. He is a chief fractional, what did you call yourself? Chief?
Yeah, a fractional chief of staff.
Fractional chief of staff. So he's great at taking a business, looking at it and saying, here's the things we need to put in place to make this business work. He's great at that. He can just kind of see those ideas. But also he's helped a lot of entrepreneurs like me and hopefully like you to do things like become more well-known, write a book, the marketing side of things as well. And so that is why I had him here today. And he has a new book out too. It's called Business Networking, A Scientific Method. So this is the new book. I have around the room QR codes on their faces. So if you scan that QR code, it'll take you to his page so you can look at the books. Also next to him is his wife, Christine, and we're going to be talking about Christine Smith's new book, and it's Caregiver Kit, and we'll talk a little bit about this. So I had her come along because she's an amazing case study of what Scott does for putting a book together, and also she has years and years of experience with being a hired caregiver in people's homes. You know, the people that come and help you out with your mom or dad as they're, you know, going through their final days and things like that. And so I don't think you ever thought you'd be an author, did you?
No.
No.
That's the short version.
Yeah, no, and we'll get into the long version in a minute. We talked about this last night. So anyway, so much experience. Thank you guys so much for being here. I think that's what's great about Christine is that I wanted to have somebody to talk about their experience with putting a book together that, you know, isn't a marketer, that isn't somebody that feels like they have that background. Because guess what? If Christine can do it, what do you say? If you can do it, then what?
Then obviously you can do it better.
All right, you're funny. All right, cool. So let's just dive in. I actually have like one of your worksheets here because he's got some great worksheets. I'm a worksheet gal and I love his worksheets and what he does. So we're going to go through we're going to give you all the information. But if you do want to work with Scott, he does have an ongoing program to help you get it done. Okay, so definitely check that out. But we're not going to gatekeep. We're going to tell you everything that we know today. So let's start with that. So the first thing you always say is what, Scott? What is the first, like if I'm saying I want to write a book, or maybe I don't even know if there's a book in me. Tell me how people come to you and what they usually ask when they're looking to write a book or they're telling you they shouldn't be able to. I don't know. Talk about that.
You know, it's people that want to start their own business, people that want to write a book. I give the same type of advice because somewhere along the line, somewhere recently, and you can think about this, somebody called you up and asked you a question because they know you can help them. You have expertise. They already trust you, right? So think back over the last month, last week, somewhere along the line, somebody called you up and said, Cammie, can you help me with? And then you go, well, do other people get paid to do that, to solve that problem? And if so, you have a business or you have a great topic for a book because that one person that asked, there are lots of other people that have the same question.
Yeah. So that's, I think, a really good point. And I love what you're saying there. So if you haven't, so if you're in the room, I would say let's workshop this. So make sure if you have notes that you write that down for yourself. Think about it. What is something that somebody asks you, you know, that maybe is related to business, maybe isn't, right? So what if it's something they're asking you questions about, like how to diet, but you're actually like a, you know, something else.
But they trust you, right?
Right.
They trust you for that. But you just think about, you know, who is it that you help? What problem do you solve? And how do you, everyone solves things differently, right? We've learned, we've taken information, we've internalized it, we've synthesized it, and no one else in the universe does it the way you do it, right? So even if you say leadership, right? I mean, there's millions of books out there about leadership, but the way you teach it, the way you exemplify that, no one else does it like that.
Yeah, I'm going to bring Christina in on this one because your book kind of came out of something like this. So you go into a lot of different people's houses when they're going through this caregiving routine. And what did you notice? What did you notice?
The similarities from home to home. So by the time I was done, there were over 90 different homes that I had been in, and patterns appeared. And I was asked questions by the people around my age category. Do you know of is it possible, you know, this is the way because I became a confidant. First, I was kind of an invader during crisis, and then I became almost part of the family. So I would write these things down on little scraps of paper and put them in my purple quilted bag as I sat in my car eating between my different shifts in different parts of the county.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. All these little scraps all these years. And then what happened?
Well, people say fast forward. So it was really slow forward. I realized, some of you know Russ Hedge. He said, now that you have come into social media, you should do a newsletter on LinkedIn. So I did a little newsletter, and my motivational listener hubby/producer, said that newsletter could be a book and it should not be long. And that is exactly what an expert in my state, Oregon, she has been an expert in gerontology for many decades. I gave her one and she said, she wrote me a letter. I got it in the mail. It was wonderful. I keep it by my desk. And she said, I've already used this with 2 of my clients and it helped them to say, this is something I can do for myself right now. And she said, it's because it's a short book.
Yeah, so I think that's the other thing that we sometimes say too, is that a book has to be really long. I'm going to tell you how many pages this book is, guys. It is 31 pages. It's 31 pages. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be super long. So that's the other part. I think we have a lot of mistakes in our head about like a book needs to be this, a book needs to be that. Guess what? We can self-publish these days, and it's professional looking. You know, it's very nice. This is much better than like a brochure. It's much better than a business card. It's much better than almost anything you can leave behind, right? You could leave that behind for a person, and there it is. You know, it's like, okay, then you become an authority on that. And it's a small book, and maybe they'll call it a pamphlet or whatever. That's fine, but here it is, right? And this is it's on Amazon today. You know what I'm saying? You can buy it and you can give it to somebody who needs it or send it to somebody who needs it. And it's very affordable, obviously, right? Yeah. So cool. So thank you. We're going to go in a little bit deeper onto your process in a minute, but I want to move to the book outline. So if you have your problem you're going to solve, like now you're like, okay, how do you organize yourself to write a book?
Yeah. So the format is easy and you can write this down and you can use it. So it's hook, problem, guide, solution, ask.
Hook, problem, guide, solution, ask.
And the key point is being able to describe the problem, because human nature says that if you can clearly articulate the problem to the point where it's like, were you eavesdropping on us last night? Because that's exactly what we were talking about in the business or at the home, right? If you can clearly articulate the problem, then people believe that you also must know the answer.
That's really interesting. So articulate the problem, and that's your hook, right?
Well, no,
that's the problem.
Hook gets you in. The problem, you spend time really writing the problem. And then the guide is really you're going through and you say, look, here's the problem. We all have this problem, or I had this problem. And then I looked at the solutions that were out there. And it's like, this was too invasive. This was too costly. This one actually didn't work. And so I ran through all these things and none of them worked. That's why. So you're guiding them to reason why. Now you tell them the solution. So this is what you do, right? And then it was like writing a book. So in the old days of writing a book, you had to get someone to publish it. And to do that, you had to get an agent. It would take a year probably to find an agent, take the agent maybe a year to find a publisher for your book. Then it's going to be 3 years with the publisher going back and forth, writing and rewriting your book. So now you're 4 years into it. The problem that you solved is done, right?
Yeah.
But now here's what you do. And we talked about this, Stephanie and Sarah and I talked about this, right? kdp.amazon.com. Go there, set up an account, download the Kindle Create program.
KDP.
Kindle Direct Publishing, kdp.amazon.com. Set up your account, download the Kindle Create program. Take your document, your book, 20 to 40 pages, upload it from Word, and then they even have a cover creator program. So you don't need to be a graphic designer. All of the covers that I have on my books are pictures I took. So this is in the Portland Grill. This is the Golden Gate Bridge. My wife's staged this picture. That was our sectional in our family room.
It's furniture.
So,
You upload it, you format the cover, and you hit publish. And about 2 hours later, you're going to get an email that says, congratulations, your book is available. And it's free.
yeah. Yeah, it is.
all free.
There's a couple of questions I have
Yeah,
because that
I
seems
just-
really easy, right? But
it is.
and it is easy, but a couple of questions I have. So I'm going to come back to you, Christine. So whenever you were talking to Scott and he said that could be a book, what happened next? Like, how did you start to work on a book? Tell us about that.
He wants to help other people to do the things that he's done and seen value in. And he kept saying things like, you know, if you have a book, it's something you can give to someone. It's a very personal thank you. And so it was scary and somewhat excruciating for me because I didn't want to be so public with something that was so near and dear to my heart. So I started with real information that I was really thinking about that really came from those scraps of paper, but I knew it was only going to be Kindle. So it wasn't going to be like this and somehow feeling about becoming an author, a published author for the first time. So I call it my convincer book. Maybe I was just convincing myself that I actually had information that wasn't already available to everyone. So it's called The Act of Aging. And I just convinced myself that what I heard from the people in the homes who were in their 40s, 50s, 60s, that would talk about their own future aging. Maybe you've heard someone say, "Who's going to do all this for me when I get old?" That was the sort of information I was putting in there, and it took 1 month longer. We needed to step back as a family because of some things that were going on, but it took only 1 month longer. He said, "This will take 3 months." It took 4. And then it was there, and then it was available, and I was still in one piece. I was okay. I had turned into an author, and it didn't shake me up. So it was a first step. That one still isn't in paper, but now I kinda want it to be.
Yeah, no, and you told me something about your fake book. Can you talk to me about your conversation with yourself about your fake book?
That's my fake book. I just told myself it wasn't real. I'm not really going to be an author. So that's the Kindle one, The Act of Aging. But I got to select a front for it. And I have no idea how many pages it is on Kindle, but the information in there was convincing me I really did have some information that apparently isn't available to everyone who's 45 years old and is going, "Am I going to be 80?"
A little bit older. No, it's good. And yeah, this is not her first book. That's the amazing thing about it. I remember because I happened to be there. I was on a call whenever they were ready to go live with her first book. I just happened to be on that call. And one of the global tea break, it was an after call, a global tea break call. And at the end of it, they were like, "Push the publish button, Christine." So it was like this whole entire thing where she just
Publish.
published.
It was
It was like,
terrible
yeah,
pressure.
we kind of did that. We did kind of do that. And we were all like, "Publish, publish, publish." And he did. And you didn't die.
I didn't. And Russ, I lost you. Oh, he's over here. Russ, do you remember? It was maybe like 2 years ago, and you said your word for this year is publish.
That is correct.
Oh
You
my
did say that.
goodness.
You
When
did.
we're not doing this, I'm just gonna put a book into your hand and say thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
Do anyone use Mailchimp out here and used it like a long time ago, a few years back? And when you'd write your email and you hit the publish button and they had like this sweaty monkey hand. Yes, you
Yes, I
remember, right?
remember, yeah.
With the big red
Yeah,
button, right?
absolutely.
You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. It's the same thing with Kindle or any of the other platforms. Amazon is not the only one, but it is very easy.
Could you actually, I was going to ask that question anyway. What are other choices? If like you hate Amazon, some people do. What are the other choices for publishing these days?
Yeah. So if you hate Amazon, then use them, right? because you load up your book and then people buy, and then they have to send you money. It seems like a great way to get back at them. So Lulu.com is another one, and I published on there. One of the things that I like about it is there's different formats that are available. So it was actually Veronica Jeans that turned me on to Lulu.com. And one of the books out here, Freeze in Action in the Face of Business Crisis, is one that we did jointly, by the way. It's also not a big book. Solve one problem and let people actually take action in that. And then also Ingram Spark is another place you can publish. All of these, by the way, are free to publish. And so Ingram Spark, the reason why we are there is because next week we're going to be with Russ Johns. We're going to be sharing a booth with Liz Lawless at the Texas Library Association in San Antonio. Big 3-day conference. We're going to try to sell books. There's 6,000 libraries that are represented there. And they buy through Ingram Spark. So they have accounts. They don't buy through Amazon. So you can set the book up and you can set bulk discounts so they can go in there and buy a case of your books, which seems like a good way to go.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. So there's a couple of ways you can actually sell your book, and this is all self-publishing, right? So if you do want to go the route of getting an agent and doing the whole thing, you can. And I know if you want to do like the New York Times bestseller and all that kind of thing, but it may be good to get your feet a little bit wet with self-publishing first, even if you decide to do that, because you will get better at the process by doing the process. What I found with processes is that you get better by doing them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we come from Oregon. Oregon's the home of Nike, and Wyden and Kennedy was their advertising agency that came up with the slogan, "Just do it." So if you want to write a book, just do it.
Let's say it together. 1, 2, 3. Just do it. All of you out there, I hope you heard that. So yeah, it's amazing. So that's, we've gone over the coming up with the idea, the solving a problem. We all went all the way to publishing. Can you talk about like the process? Like how can you fit this into your day? Or how do you say that we should fit this into our day?
Well, it's just like everything. So I talk about the 1440 Club. So every day has 1,440 minutes. And there are no rollover minutes in your day. That is, yesterday, you used all 1,440 of them. You will do the same today. You'll do the same tomorrow, which means if you add anything, you have to stop something else, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that yesterday I used all 1,440 minutes to their best and highest use, right? So maybe, well, here's the thing. On the average, Americans watch 5 hours of video every day. And this has not changed. It has been constant. When it was broadcast television, it was 5 hours a day. When it's video streaming, when it's on your phone, whatever it is, 5 hours a day. And you could say, oh, what a tragedy. You know, we're wasting 5 hours of our day. Here's the way I look at it. On the average, Americans have 5 hours of discretionary time every day. We just don't know what to do with it, so we watch videos. So set aside 30 minutes, an hour, right? Start small. And this is the way I talk. Write something today. And I was inspired by the travelers that went out west, right? The pioneers as they were traveling, and they would write journals. And some days their entry was rained all day. And then it was the next, right? So if all you do today is said, attended social media breakfast, great. Tomorrow, right? I'm glad I went to the social media breakfast because I opened up a KDP account.
Yahoo! Yeah, you can. That's one thing you can do today is just open up a KDP account. You don't have to actually do anything with it yet. Like you all have computers. You get on it like right now. Just get started. I think that's one of the things that I've found really helpful in my life too. One of the things you say here too is in one of your videos that I've watched is present the steps they will take to achieve the outcome. So if you are having a problem you're solving, could be one of the first things you do is just to write down all the steps you can think of that people need to take?
Yeah. So in the book, again, the goal here is just to solve one problem for your ideal customer.
Right.
Right. They called you up, you solved their problem, write it down. But in the book, it's general, right? You're just saying, here's the problem. Oh, great. He understands the problem. Here's how you solve it. Okay. But how do I actually apply it to my world? Right. So in your book, send them a link to 3 videos, right? Tell them what they're going to do and have them take some sort of an inventory, do an analysis on that in the next video, and give them something to download, and then have them actually execute it. And so the videos really support the book. Now, the beautiful thing here is that on Amazon, in the old days when we first started selling on Amazon, they gave you their email and name and all that stuff. Then Amazon said, wait a minute, this is valuable information.
They're like,
We're not going to
"No."
share that. So this is where you actually create the gated content. And so they buy the book on Amazon or Lulu or wherever, and then you say, follow this link, and you can put a QR code. If it's a Kindle book, you put a hot link into it, take them right to videos that explain, and you make that gated content. So now you capture their email. That's free, right? I mean, it's not a problem for them. They already bought the book. Now they're going to get the video information on how to actually apply what they've read in the book.
Oh, that's really good. And so, I mean, I'm not technical, let's say. I know I am, but like, I'm not technical. I don't know where to put all these videos. How do I do that? How do I do that?
Yeah, that's another thing I love about Google and YouTube is that I just keep loading videos up there. If I went to Wistia or one of the other sites out there, I have to pay. But I can load up the videos and put it as unlisted and just give them a link to that video, right? I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it.
Yeah, that's the easiest way. I would say that's great too, and you can do it just even in a you were talking about MailChimp that has a free page builder, like, so you can get them to give you their email, and then automatically they get an email with the links to the videos. You can do them all at once or drip them out to them right over a couple of days.
Yeah, so we've got I use Zapier, and there's a whole explanation. You can sign up. I got a fee. We'll talk about this, but there's a free course that tells you just kind of step by step what you can do for free, right? Free.
Fantastic. So we'll give you that information. It's at your website too. Let's just say where it's at. It's at your. Tell them where it's to find that.
Yeah. Well, you can just go to dscottsmith.com. That's my world.
Yes. And if you're in the room here with me today, I've put his QR code around the room. So all you have to do is scan it and it'll take you right there. So cool. I have it. It goes to your product page. So I don't know if it's there, but if it is, it's there. So that's cool. So we've got a book, we've got an outline, we've got a marketing strategy. That's fantastic. So what do you do when you get people onto your list? Then what do you do?
Yeah, well, communicate with them. So my coach one time said, Scott, if people are not unsubscribing, you're not sending enough emails.
I mean, people don't always want to, like, it's okay if people unsubscribe. I don't mind when people unsubscribe. I think it's fine. So tell me, I'm going to ask how this has worked out for you, Christine. What have been the results of all of these books and these assets that you have in your business now?
I have more confidence. I can walk in with my books and I'm already kind of a surprise to someone of, oh, you've authored. Or you are, and we've experienced that where someone goes, there's a physical reaction. Oh, you're an author. And it doesn't make me someone who I'm not, because I've been writing stuff since I could.
Yeah.
It gives me something to refer to. Like I'm touching my book right now to make me
so cool.
To make me go, she's saying, how's it affected me? So he sent me away to the Oregon coast so that I would start writing. And it wasn't the little skinny book. that one was already partly written just because I wanted to put out my idea. It's the great big book,
Yeah, the way to, yeah.
the huge one. And so I sat in the sand looking at the pelicans playing in the river with Haystack Rock in the mist beyond, and just wrote for hours there up in the room. So you get a vacation out of the deal. I have to go write.
Oh,
Diane,
this is great.
she told on Cheers, Diane
Oh, yes.
told, what's the guy? Sam. I'll just be gone for 6 months to write. And he says goodbye forever. I came back after 3 days because I don't know how to do KDP. No, I needed help. But I finally was able to take many years and put them here. I was able to, now able to say, what you do, you professional person who does stuff. I'm looking at someone who has been on my live stream. What you do reminds me of one of the aspects of aging that I have here in my big book, and then we can talk. I've had the courage to go to a PhD who lives basically down the street of where we are right now, and say to him, would you collaborate with me on the guidebook for this, because it's too much for a person to go through this big red book. He sees value that I'm serious about what I'm doing. I'm not just thinking ideas. And he said, yes, we'll get some students here. I used to be provost. I kind of hold I went back to this, I went back to.
That's the guy. You weren't provost. He was a provost, right?
He was, no, not me. Yeah.
Right.
The PhD used to be provost of that university. He's gone back to teaching to give him time to do all the writing and all the side stuff that he's doing in gerontology. And he goes, we definitely want to get some students in working with you on going through your live streams and pulling out information that I'd never pulled before. So it's helping my social media presence with a bunch of gerontology students. I just courage. I can walk in and say, this is about me, or this is what's important, or this was my research that's different than your research because I was kind of in the background while your research was more in more public.
You said it was in the hallways and yours was in the houses.
Right. Research in the hallways is a lot of medical staff and caregiving and the people that are living there. Their demographic is all very similar. They're all in their 80s maybe, and they all have similar challenges. And I went into different homes. Everything was different every time. And we could talk as colleagues because he knows I'm serious about what I'm talking about.
And that's interesting to me, because if he's going to help you make this into a workbook, then guess what what happens then? It becomes a course in a university. And guess what they do? They buy a book for every single student that comes in and a workbook for every single student. So you have an ongoing revenue stream. You did that too. So why don't you talk about what you did with the students on your book?
Yeah, so we have a nonprofit called Advocation. So we're focused on high school students that are interested in trades as a career. And so one of the things that you can do is you can cheat, by the way, and it's okay. As we said in the as an undergraduate student, it's called plagiarism. As a graduate student, it's called research. And in business, it's called leveraging. So, so this book, Business Networking: A Scientific Method, I was going to the Texas Library Association, and it's librarians, and they're buying for students. And so I took this content and stripped out the stuff that was not helpful for today's students, added in my own personal stories about being a student and trying to network, and wrote Networking for Students. It's the same content, but repackaged with some additions. And I also published it in a font that is friendly for students with dyslexia.
I
And
met
so
a
it just
student
makes it a
this
little
morning.
bit easier,
So it's accessible.
right? And so with our nonprofit, we can give all of our students a copy of Networking for Students. I work with a group called Uplift Leadership. Again, we're doing career guidance for high school and college students.
Mhm.
So we've got a book for them, right? And the nonprofits have budgets and they can buy stuff like Networking for Students.
And this is actually for the nonprofit. They're providing a service, right? This is their service to their clients, if you want to call it that. But yes, I mean it's yeah, it goes into their model very nicely. So I love what you've done there. I love the way you're thinking about this. But you see, you can repackage your stuff. So this is all stuff you own. P.S. I want to talk about ChatGPT, the Kleenex of AI, for a second. That's what I'm calling it. Trademark. The Kleenex of AI, ChatGPT. So tell me why we should or shouldn't rely on ChatGPT for book writing, because I see a lot of courses out there right now, like, will help you write your book with ChatGPT tomorrow. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, an interesting thing is that when you upload your book, one of the questions that the platforms are asking is, did you use AI to write this book or generate the images? And if you use it as an assist, then you say no. If it wrote the book for you, so I have a client and they have a Western clothing store in Eastern Sierras in California. And so we created this fictional character, Sam Toggery, who, and the name of the store is the Toggery, and they sell Western clothing store, right? So anyway, I go, we need to promote this using a book. So Sam Toggery wrote 50 poems. Well, actually, ChatGPT wrote 50 poems.
Right.
And then we edited them a little bit, right? But now we've got a sellable brochure for the store. And anyway, if you use ChatGPT to write your content, then you just disclose that. But the best thing to look at it is any of the AI tools like ChatGPT, it's an assistant, right? So if you have an assistant in the Philippines, you might say, research 25 topics that entrepreneurs need to understand, right? And you're going to get it back from your VA, but you're not going to just publish that, right? You're going to go, oh, okay, here's a starting point. You can do the same thing with ChatGPT, and most of you have probably done this, right? You use it to
Get an outline.
get away from a blank page to get some ideas. Also, I have a friend that he is really good at nutrition. He works with top level athletes, top CEOs, and he is a horrible writer when it comes to grammar and spelling and punctuation. So he does his best to write the stuff, and he goes, please edit this for me, right? And that is a great way. Same thing, you're using it as an assistant, but not as the content creation. This still comes from you.
Yes, because if you do that, I will just say this, just as on the expert side of that, it is not copyrightable. Anything that comes out of ChatGPT, anything that comes out of AI, you cannot put a copyright on it, period. It's just not allowed. So there's case law around it and so on. So anybody could then use it and you're done. So take some time, write the thing. Use a little bit of help to get going if you need to, but do not use, I would just say, just blanket, do not use AI as as the person that's writing it for you. Certainly what I've done is I've used it to organize outlines. Outlines are really great. So like if you have, Madeline Sklar and I are writing a book based on our 2 years of podcasting. It's like 127 episodes. And so I'm like, whew, okay, that's a lot. So like, how do we organize this? And so I've had AI help me organize those episodes into like buckets. Like we're going to put these in one part of the book and then these in another part of a book. But then we've already written, a lot of it. We have transcripts of everything. So it's going to be very easy for us to write that up. That's just organizing. You can use sticky notes. Sticky notes are amazing. Have you used sticky notes to like organize yourself? I love sticky notes. If you're a sticky note person, yay. Who are sticky notes people here? All right. I have a few helpers in the room. So that's another thing you can do is like think about a process that you go through, that you take a client on. Like if you have a client, if you're on that side like I am, I'll say, what process would I put you through? And then I'll write down all the steps and put on sticky notes and then organize them and put them into a a good pattern that these all go together, these all go together. And then you've got chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. So do you have any other fun tips like that? Those are my 2.
Yeah, I just, again, AI is a great tool. It's going to help you get away from that blank page. Right? If you just have some ideas and you don't know where to start, then that's a great place. It's just a collaborative tool. Don't rely on it. And the copyright thing is kind of a cool deal. I got this letter back from the U.S. Copyright Office, and I'm thinking, I should frame this. It's not very pretty, by the way, but I don't care. It says I'm registered with the U.S. Copyright Office, and
did you actually apply for that, or did the Kindle apply for that?
Yeah,
for
so
you?
this is separate. You need to do that yourself.
Yeah.
And it's $65. So.
Yep. So you just go to the U.S. Copyright Office and you pay your. And what about an ISBN? Let's talk about what an ISBN is. And did you do that?
Yeah. So there's a number of ways you can do this. You in the U.S., there's one place where you go to get ISBN numbers and you buy them, and you can buy them in bulk. And Veronica, I think she had to leave because she's teaching a class. She has done that a lot. So she is a great resource right here in Houston.
She is.
You don't need to buy one. There's some limitations if you don't buy one. So you can go to Amazon and you can say, they'll say, do you have your own ISBN? And you say no, and they'll assign you one. And then you can't then get bulk copies of your book and take them to the local bookstore and sell them.
Or go to Lulu or Ingram Spark or these places, right?
Yeah. So it's but it didn't cost you anything, right? So you can accept some limitations, and then you can go out and maybe buy your ISBN later if you want. You can always change it.
They're not expensive though, are they? ISBNs, they're not expensive. I've looked at them.
Yeah,
like $100.
Yeah, it's another $100. So, but we want to start free, right? Start free. You don't have to register with the Copyright Office. You can. Right. So $100 for your ISBN, $65 to register with the Copyright Office. So for less than $200, you still have a book and it's yours.
And you can sell it anywhere. So it's amazing. So that I'm going to actually open this up for questions online and offline. So hit us with your best shots, guys.
And I'll just, while you guys are thinking about the questions, one of the things that's so cool, and working with high school students is one of the great joys that I have.
He's gonna steal that from you.
If you like yesterday, we were at dinner over at Cammie's house, and I was having a conversation with her daughter, Zoe. And we just had a very good connection. And so I was able to take this book and write a little note in there to her and give it to her, right?
Yeah.
And it's when you have your book and you have the physical portion and you have a conversation with somebody, and I don't recommend just signing books and handing them out to everybody, but when you have that moment and you have that connection, then I might just sign, Russ, thanks for spending time with me, and I'll just make a little note and hand it to them. I guarantee you, they are not going to throw that book away.
It's so true. So I have boxes and boxes of books from my friends that have written books that I'm like, I don't know where to put these in my house, but I have them and I will never get rid of them.
I stole the mic so I could have the first question. First of all, this session has been fascinating. We're all over here whispering, yeah, we could do that. We could do that. So my question is, I've listened to some other podcasts and things about this topic. And one of the things that they talk about is researching your book topics so that you can be kind of in the popular, so you can sell quickly, so that you can write something that is going to be marketable. Do you guys do any of that? And if so, can you talk more about how you do this?
Yeah. So one of the great things is you'll see in LinkedIn profiles and on podcast bios, #1 bestseller, top selling author, right? It takes about 6 books to be the top seller. And so here's the deal. And your name? Jennifer. So if Jennifer publishes a book and comes here to the breakfast on the second Friday of the month and says, next week, I'm going to publish my book. So on Friday, I want you guys to buy the book. I'm going to set the price at like 99 cents. Come please, just help each other out, right?
Mhm.
And then the next person, you can do this. If a third of the people in this room buy that book, you're going to be a top seller. You're going to be number one, and you screenshot that.
In a category. You have to pick the categories.
Well,
right.
and Amazon wants you to be successful. Amazon will pick a category for you.
Mhm.
And so I think I'm in like teen life. I did not pick teen life, but I'm serious. You'll find out. There's like 6 people bought your book, and you screenshot and it says like #1 bestseller in that category. But nobody cares. You screenshot it, you put it, and you paste it in. You say, and you're like, look, I'm a #1 bestseller.
Mhm. And by the way, we do have a newsletter that goes out, so we're all in on supporting in your author journey at Social Media Breakfast. Jennifer, are we in? So Jen is my co-founder, just so you know. So any other questions? Yes. Oh, Ann.
Yes,
course.
I'm not just holding it since
Yeah.
Jen, she passed it down this way. I had a question about the copyright. So you said you registered with the Copyright Office. Is that per book or is that just for you as the author?
Yeah. So it's for the content that you submit, right? Yeah. So if you want to copyright this book, then take that PDF and you just go to the U.S. Copyright Office and you walk through the process. It's pretty intuitive. Fill it in, upload your PDF, and in a few weeks they'll send you some communication, and then
You have a letter.
this thing shows up in the mail, and I'm like, wow.
Okay. Anybody else? Oh, Donna had okay. And Alexandra.
Hi.
You're here.
So just a
Alexandra.
question about a connected question on the copyright and chat GPT. So if you are using it to ideate or kind of get your ideas going, I've got an idea for a book. I've been working on it quietly. I haven't told anybody. But
Until
Now
today.
you have. And publish. You missed that part.
it's not ready, but I will. But I've got some, I'm thinking of using AI, but I just don't want that there because it feeds and learns off of it. So if you are then going to copyright it, the exact words in that order cannot be reused. But if you put some of your words prior to that into chat GPT, I'm really concerned about that, if you're trying to fix and clean up. So I didn't know what your thoughts about that were.
Yeah, so the intellectual property laws, as Kami said, there's precedent around it. But if you're just using it for just getting some concepts, for some organizing some of your ideas, maybe for some spell checking. I mean, we all use AI for that. Little squiggly red lines, little green lines underneath there. Right?
Grammarly is already doing that.
That's an AI tool. But if you're just saying, again, you're just saying, what are 5 things, and load some content in, it's just giving you ideas. You're going to rewrite that. ChatGPT, one of the things I hate about that is the word tapestry. It's like in everything.
On yours.
Everything is a
You have to
tapestry.
kind of so to answer your question, we're not legal experts, first of all. Let me just say that we are not giving you legal advice. Talk to your lawyer. And you're closer to lawyers than we are. So in the end of the day, you have to decide whether you want to put it in there or not. But I don't think it's that big of a deal. I'll be honest. I really don't, because if you've written it and it gives you some edits, I'm very clear about my edits. I'm like, please do not change the language, just edit for grammar. Don't give me extra stuff in here. So you do have to give it some prompts that tell it not to take out or add too many other words or other things. But I mean, I know for a fact that Beyonce did Jolene of Dolly Parton, and she changed a word, and guess what? She did not get the copyright for changing that word. So anyway, I don't know if that's precedence or not, but I think, anything that we can look at on that side, it's uncertain. The law is uncertain, but he got the copyright. Do you do the same thing? So being careful. Yeah, I think they're going to crack down on that eventually. I bet you the Copyright Office eventually will have some sort of tool that it'll run things through, maybe. But we're not there yet, so copyright it. So that's one of the things I will tell you. There were some artists that sued ChatGPT, OpenAI, and some others, and they lost their case because they never copyrighted their art. Copyright your stuff. Copyright it. It's worth it. It's worth the $65. It's really not that much. That's dinner out. So.
Hello, it's so good to see you in person. Good to see you on the screen for quite a few months now. But anyway, my question was, I know you said that the Kindle, the publishing part is free and using the templates and all, but how much does it cost to get them printed? Are you doing,
Yeah,
I'm
so
just curious at how much they cost.
good question. Yeah. So the books, once you load them up, it's all print on demand, right? So this book was printed in Troutdale, Oregon. And I think this one might be as well. Yeah. And so what happens is there's an author price for this, right? And it all depends on the size of the book and the number of pages and so forth. And you can set the price at whatever you want to sell it at. And you want to set it at a price, obviously, that's going to make a profit. But so for this one, for networking for students, author cost is probably right around $2.
And I think for my book, which is a little bit bigger, right now they upped the price not that long ago. And if I buy them in bulk, they're like $6 each or so for the bigger book, like the little bit thicker than that. You know, like for the most amazing marketing book ever, that's about a $6 book. Rough. Yeah, you have to order in bulk, right?
Yeah, you can order any number of copies that you want, and then have them so you can take them to events and things like that and give them out.
And give them to my daughter.
Another hack that you can do on this is you can go in and you can change the price, and so lower the price to is as low as Amazon will let you, because if you buy the author copies, you have to pay shipping. And so, but if you lower the price and you buy it through the account and you have Amazon Prime, it's free shipping, right?
Oh, that's super smart. I
And
never thought
so
about that.
you just weigh out, oh, if I buy 5 books
99 cents each.
and yeah, so
That's fantastic.
anyway, little hack. And then you change the price. Questions.
So this has been a great event, very informative. So thank you. If you don't mind, can you reiterate when you were referencing about, top bestseller? You said change the price to a certain price and then screenshot it. Could you reiterate what was that process again? Because I think that's very important.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you want, you want to become a bestseller, top seller, and everyone's a bestseller. And it does. It takes like 6 books. This is my experience. 6 books selling within the same day will bring you up in the top in some category. Amazon wants you to be the top of some category. So you pick categories when you upload your book. Oh, I'm going to be in business, in finance, in whatever it is.
And
in
you'll
marketing.
spend your time figuring it out and agonizing over it. Trust me, we can talk about that.
And then Amazon's going to pick a category. And so let's just say it's in Kindle and you can set the price at 99 cents. And so you tell all your friends, it's like, look, here's $1, buy my book. But buy it on the same day, schedule it, right? Organize it and say, on Friday, we're all going to come to the social media breakfast and we're going to buy each other's books. And then you just get online and you buy them. And then as the author, you watch that. And it's going to climb in the categories. And they'll show your book and there'll be a little mark in the corner that's got number 2, number 5, number 10, whatever it is. And when it hits and you screenshot it, right? And when it hits number 1, screenshot that. And then you're done. You're now a best-selling author.
Well, and that should really be your friends and family and people that like you, maybe your customers. But here's the really interesting thing. You can then have those people write a review of your book, and then that pops it up into the category even further so that other people can see it. You're going to have to ask and beg and plead. And it's just like getting people to write a review is really hard, because it's not hard, but it's just hard. And the only way that Amazon will take it is if they bought it. It has to be purchased. Yes. And if it's on Kindle, you have to have read about 75% of it.
I have two questions. You may have discussed this earlier, but see the book as a tool to like as a kind of a freer tool to get people to buy your more premium products and services, or is it, a profitable thing in itself? I want to sell a lot of this book, and how do you get them to fly off the digital shelves?
Right. Yeah. So here's the way I wrote the first book. My first book, I think it was 2018, and it was based. So I gave a talk, turned it into a course, and thought, well, I'll put it into a book at some point. Got booked to speak at the Project Management Institute's annual conference. I go, oh, this is a good reason to have a book. So then I formatted it and published it on Amazon as a Kindle. I went into it saying, first of all, no one's going to buy my book. Those who do buy it aren't going to read it. And anyone who reads it isn't going to do what I tell them. So I got freed, right? I was freed from any burden there. Making money selling books is really, really hard. I don't recommend that as maybe you're lucky, right? Maybe you're really, really good and you'll make money selling books. But the benefit is that you've captured the way you approach a problem and put it into book format and made it available. Because the first thing to selling anything is making it available to be purchased, right? Now you can have that conversation. I'm over here talking with Russ. Wow, we had a really good conversation. Let me give you my book. And we create a bond over that, right? The other thing is that, in your name? Sheena. So if we said, okay, and to next speaker is Sheena, and she has a 20-page PDF available on her website. Welcome Sheena to the stage, right? Now we say our next speaker is Sheena. You can buy her book on Amazon. Welcome Sheena to the stage, right? There is a difference in perspective. And so one of the books that I have on Kindle only is Influence, Creation of Credibility, and it is the 12-week process for writing a book. And in there, the research that I found was that we as a culture esteem authors, right? The highest are medical people. We are medical folks. We esteem them the most. Social media influencers, by the way, are just below call center representatives.
Fantastic. Yes, we're kind of getting to the end, so I think you have some online questions, right? Or do you?
No.
Or do you?
Actually,
No. Okay, so let's go.
I just wanted to ask about when you're making a Kindle book. What is involved if you want to make edits or changes? Is there a cost involved?
Yeah, so you upload and you've got a Kindle available and you go, oh wow, I made a big mistake, or I want to revise this. You just upload a new version, you hit publish, the old one is out, the new one is in.
Okay.
And that's it. And it doesn't cost anything.
So you can just start, you can publish, and if you feel like that isn't what you want your final statement to be.
And for entrepreneurs in general, I say, if you are not embarrassed by your first release, you waited too long.
Yeah, probably true. It's probably true. All right, so I'm going to actually end it there. So thank you guys so much for being here. I want to let you know that next month we are celebrating 15 years of Social Media Breakfast. It's kind of unbelievable. Jennifer and I sat in a pizza parlor basically and had this conversation, roughly 16 years ago, and we got this thing off the ground. And so I'm really excited. We're going to be here, and we're going to be talking with 3 amazing communities that kind of sprung out of people that came to Social Media Breakfast in the early days and decided that they wanted to also create communities. So we're going to be talking about the power of creating community. And so around your different brand, and certainly Impact Hub was one of those. Grace was here from the very, very beginning. She's been so supportive of us as we've gone on. We're going to be talking to Ozil, who has done Podcast Houston, and then also Michelle, and the name of her. African American Marketing Association. And she came early on to Social Media Breakfast and mentioned that it kind of sparked her to start her own association. So thank you so much. We're going to have her here as well. And so I'm really excited for next month and sort of what we're going to do there. If you have some time, those are here in the room, I would like to workshop. If you have to go, you can go. But I'd like us to get into twos. So look next to you and find someone that you're going to talk to. And I want you to share what your book idea is, what problem you're going to solve. I want you to put a line in the sand, and it can be, I don't know. And the other person says, well, what are you good at? So let's work for about 10 minutes before you leave. You're going to network anyway. Let's actually leave with a book idea in mind. So for those of you who are out in the watching audience, please do that for yourself. Write it down. Send it to me on LinkedIn. I would love to know what your thought is and what your book idea is. So if you're listening to this, send me a LinkedIn message or a Facebook message or a YouTube message, wherever you are. You can leave it as a comment. I would love to see what you're thinking, and we will get back to you about, like, hey, what are you going to do with that? So if you need some accountability, if you need some help, this man right here is, as you can see, a wealth of knowledge. He has a process. He has a program. Please go to his website, dscottsmith.com. It's there. You can grab it there. And here in the room, you can scan the QR code that I have all around with their faces. And Christine, thank you, Christine, so much for sharing your story about becoming a published author. I'm going to let you have the last word today.
The last word. If you
Encouragement.
join Global Tea Break, that's the next Friday every month, you can ask those people to also push the button.
Yeah.
This is what happened to me. Not an author until I became an author, a published author. I did not come in number 1. I was number 4. That's as high as I was able to make it on the planet in Amazon. I was beat out by a contributing columnist in the New York Times had just put out their book. So perhaps they had maybe some extra push behind their book.
Perhaps.
Second place was a book put out, and mine was, one of the groupings was self-care. So it was Jessica Simpson. Some of us are wearing something right now with Jessica Simpson written on it. Thank you for laughing. Oh, and Mindy Kaling, she put out another book. So those are the 3 that beat
And you
me
were 4.
out.
So there you go. So anyway, thank you so much. All right, thank you. We'll see you next month.